兄弟们呐，扛不住了，扛不住了的。
Bros, I can't take it anymore. I really can't. These are the fridge, washing machine, and sewing machine. Everything's being sent back home. Bros, we're eating steamed buns every day. We can't keep going like this. I'm leaving first. You guys take your time.
刚刚来到11月
It's just November, still 3.5 months before the Chinese New Year. But the first batch of migrant workers has already gone home. How do we know they're migrant workers? Many of those carrying snake-shaped bags are migrant workers. It's too early for them to go home this year.
昨天回了一趟农村老家
I went back to my rural hometown yesterday and noticed something interesting. Some of the young people who usually go back around in January or February have already returned. And the Chinese New Year is still 3 months away. I asked them why they came back so early. They said that this year it's harder to make money and their jobs aren't stable. They decided to return early. Living away from home requires renting a house, paying for food and other expenses. When they come back, they only need a bag of salt to get by for a month. Because they have vegetables, chickens, and ducks at home. It makes sense. Have young people in your hometown returned early? Recently, in major cities across China, there has been a large-scale return of migrant workers. Train stations and long-distance bus stations are packed with migrant workers carrying large bags. Some are even bringing home large appliances like fridges and washing machines. Clearly, this is not just about returning for the Chinese New Year, but they are planning to return permanently and not come back to cities to work. This phenomenon is most obvious in major manufacturing cities like Dongguan and Shenzhen. In the past, labor-intensive industries like clothing, toys, hardware, and electronics absorbed a large number of migrant workers. Now, many factories have either moved overseas to Southeast Asia or closed down. Job positions have been greatly reduced. Going back home is their most helpless choice.
现在广州没事做，都回去做。
Now in Guangzhou, there's nothing to do. They've all gone back. Big bags, sewing machines, even electric bikes. Those are all being taken back home. There are so many electric bikes. One vehicle is completely filled with them. They won't be coming back for sure. Even the bike frames are being taken back. They're all going home for the New Year early this year. They won't be coming back to Guangzhou anymore. Can't make money in Guangzhou. This wave of migrant workers returning home reflects the structural changes in China's economy. The shift of industries and the difficulties many businesses face in recent years. Not only is foreign capital leaving in large amounts, but the Chinese Communist regime's policies, such as promoting the state advances private retreat strategy, have pushed the most dynamic private capital into a corner. These policy changes have fundamentally destroyed the economic development model that China has built over decades of reform and opening up. Take Dongguan as an example. This city, once known as the world's factory, used to be one of China's brightest economic jewels. More than a decade ago, it was bustling with lights and the sound of machines. Hong Kong, Taiwan, Japan, and Korea invested heavily, with companies like Foxconn, Yueyuan, and Jiahui Toys. 1 out of every 5 pairs of shoes in the world came from Dongguan, and every 10 mobile phones had screws tightened in Dongguan. At its peak, Dongguan's population of migrant workers exceeded 8 million, with 3/4 of the city's population being from outside. These migrant workers supported the city's prosperity. However, today's Dongguan is empty. Without factories, the city lacks vitality. Many areas are quiet, with shops available for rent. The former hustle and bustle seems to have faded overnight. It is even described as a ghost town. Why did foreign-funded Taiwanese and Hong Kong factories all move out? They've all left. Dongguan is about to become a ghost town.
东莞是人越来越少了。
Dongguan has fewer and fewer people now. It didn't just happen today. It happened a few years ago. Fewer bosses, fewer workers. Everyone has left. Now, look, how many people are here? You can see no one on the streets. Are there any people in the restaurants? 10 years ago, these streets were very lively. Now, there's basically no one around. Do you see these doors? They're all shut. No business, no people. Now they're all advertising for rent or transfer.
10年前东莞人口近千万的时候
10 years ago, when Dongguan's population was close to 10 million, if you went out for a late night snack, the street stores would still be packed at 3 a.m., still open for business. Now Dongguan's population is still said to be nearly 10 million, but there's no one on the back streets. No one in Chang'an, no one in Humen town. Even the central areas of Dongguan and the Fuming pedestrian street in the south all have for rent signs. Where have all the people in Dongguan gone?
Dongguan is not an isolated case. It is just a microcosm of the difficulties faced by many manufacturing cities in China. Over the past 30 years, countless factories have absorbed nearly 300 million migrant workers into cities, allowing them to move from rural areas to urban centers, from poverty to basic sustenance. Working in the cities became the hope for many families to improve their lives. But now, for most ordinary workers, the city is no longer the place where, if you're willing to work hard, you can definitely earn money. Factory orders have sharply declined, and closures or transitions have become the norm. The jobs that are found are often unpaid for months, or even the boss runs away. Large-scale construction site shutdowns have left tens of thousands of workers' hard-earned money in vain. The high rent, utilities, and living expenses feel like huge stones pressing down on their shoulders, making it hard to breathe. The problems China's economy faces now are not just the decline of manufacturing, but a large-scale recession.
今年的生意到底有多难做？
How difficult is business this year? Let me show you our street. Look, the Sha County snack shop is directly up for rent, and over here, it's been transferred. Do you see it? And this row of shops, it's 12 p.m. now. There's not a single soul. The shops behind are either for transfer or rent.
你们就说现在这个买卖有多难干吧。
You tell me how hard it is to do business these days. Just behind me, this cake shop, called Happy Cakes, is up for transfer. Do you know how long this shop has been here? I came to Chongli County in 2010. It's 2025 now. I've been here for 15 years. This shop was here when I came. It's been open for at least 15 years. After so many years, this long-established shop is now up for transfer.
马上到年底了，兄弟们。
It's almost the end of the year, bros. Let me tell you an undeniable fact. This year has been hard, because most people haven't made any money. If you don't believe me, ask them. You can randomly interview people on the street and ask them if they've made money. Ask if they have money in their pockets. 90% of them haven't made any money. The reason is that this year is particularly difficult to make money. Let me tell you, don't laugh. What I'm saying is just a fact. This year, 90% of people can't pull out a single penny for the new year. It might sound a little too decisive, but this is a fact. If you don't believe me, ask yourself if you can take out 10,000 yuan for the new year. Of course, there are some people who can take out 10,000 or even tens of thousands, but I'm talking about the majority. Let's not lie. Swear to the heavens. Can you take out 10,000 yuan for the new year? As for me, I definitely can't. As a result, in the parks and train stations of the cities, migrant workers are often seen sleeping on the ground because they can't find work. Of course, many choose to silently leave, packing up their last savings and returning to their hometowns. According to official CCP data, in 2024, there were nearly 300 million migrant workers in China, of whom nearly 180 million worked away from home. This wave of early returnees is estimated to involve around 15 million people nationwide. These people are not only returning home, but also facing the risk of returning to poverty. Some analyses suggest that if migrant workers experience large-scale poverty, they may rise up in desperation, which is something the CCP fears greatly. On November 13th, the CCP's Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs held a National Rural Artisan Training and 2 Stabilizations, 1 Prevention Employment and Poverty Alleviation Work Conference in Yunnan Province. 2 Stabilizations, 1 Prevention refers to stabilizing the scale of migrant workers from poverty-stricken populations, stabilizing their income from work, and preventing large-scale return to poverty due to unemployment. The meeting urged rural areas to continue implementing relevant policies to prevent large-scale return to hometowns or stay in the villages. Anyone familiar with CCP meetings knows that when they talk about preventing something, it often means the problem has already arisen and has reached a very serious level. The authorities are now taking strict measures to monitor those who are about to return to their hometowns or have already returned from working outside.
刚刚从大城市辞掉工作。
I just quit my job in a big city and came back home less than a month ago. Today, the village party secretary called me and told me not to stay at home all the time, to go back to work soon.
大家听说了吗？
Have you heard? This year, when returning home for the new year, it must be safe return, orderly return, and scientific return. I don't understand. Why is it so complicated to return to my own home?
There was even a notice saying,
Attention, young men and women working in the Huzhou city. According to the notice from high authorities, any unmarried young men and women over the age of 30 who have no partner are not allowed to return home for the new year this year.
The comment section sparked strong reactions from netizens, with many sharing absurd experiences of being advised to return to work. A netizen from Zhejiang province said, "I just came back to the village yesterday. Today, the village head came to advise me to go out and work. It's true. I ignored him, so what if I don't go out? Can they arrest me?" One netizen shared, "It's the same for me. I came back to the village yesterday. Today, the village head came to ask, 'Why are you back so early this year? The new year is still far away. Why not go to the county town and find some short-term work?' I thought to myself, what's going on? Why is the village leader so concerned about me this year? It wasn't like this before." Someone replied, "Because if you don't work, you'll be thinking about who made your life so difficult." Another netizen joked, "The village head called me yesterday and told me I should die in Guangdong province and not come back. He said, as long as I don't return, it's the greatest support for the hometown's poverty alleviation work." A female netizen shared her absurd experience. "The village head told me to go out and find a job. I said I couldn't find one. He said, 'I don't care what you do. Even if you become a prostitute, you have to go out.' I said, 'Fine, you first give me some business, or I'll go tell your wife that you're flirting with me.' He asked, 'What are you trying to do?' I said, 'I don't even have travel expenses. You can send me some on WeChat.' He thought for a moment, then took out 500 yuan in cash and told me not to make trouble. Just consider it a loan and pay him back when I have the money." Not only phone bombings and village leaders knocking on doors, but grassroots anti-stagnation actions have escalated to absurd levels. In many rural streets and alleys, huge red banners hang prominently. Preventing large-scale return and stagnation of migrant workers is everyone's responsibility. The comment section is filled with anger. It's just like the Great Famine in the 1960s, starving to death in place, not allowed to go out and beg for food. This has a similar vibe. If life in the city is unbearable, and you can't even stay in your hometown, isn't this creating a massive blind influx? And a large, unstable blind influx is one of the basic conditions for rebellion. This is pushing people to rebellion. Even more absurdly, some people openly suggest how to block the returning migrant wave. This person suggested, "To prevent large-scale returns and stagnation of migrant workers, we can adopt the control methods used during the pandemic, such as assigning yellow or red codes. If people who work in the city don't return to the city after being away for a while, we will assign them a yellow or red code. For example, assigning a yellow code if they've been home for half a month, and a red code if they've been home for a month. This would make it easier for statistics and management." This ridiculous suggestion was immediately slammed by netizens. The pandemic codes are used up, and now they're being used to lock up farmers? Do Chinese farmers still have the right to live? Migrant workers in Beijing, previously referred to as the low-end population, are now being labeled as stagnant if they are unable to find work and return to their hometowns. This shift in terminology reflects a growing challenge for these individuals. If life in the city becomes unbearable and they cannot return to their hometowns, it creates a cycle of uncertainty and instability. A large unsettled population is a potential source of social unrest. This situation may contribute to rising tensions, and some argue that the conditions could lead to future uprisings among migrant workers.
你回答我。
Answer me. Why do I return home? If I'm doing well in the city, would I go back? Am I going back to lie flat? If I could strive and earn money, who would want to lie flat?
不是返乡治乡的问题。
The issue is not about returning or stagnating in the hometown, but telling the village, town, and county leaders back home, please stop judging them and open your warm embrace to welcome them back. They are not runaway soldiers fleeing with the money, but heroes who left home for their families. In the steel and concrete of the city, they swallowed their grievances, bore the pressure, were covered in scars, but never backed down. But now they return, like tired birds returning to their nests, like fallen leaves returning to their roots. They are not immigrants, nor a burden on their hometown. The city may owe them an apology, but their hometown should not make them feel cold. As the CCP fears, millions of migrant workers dragging their snakeskin bags back home are not doing so to lie flat, but because the city has become a dead end. Yet the countryside is an even more irreversible path, lacking opportunities to make a living. Farming is not profitable, and young people have nowhere to go. The only result of returning home is the entire family falling back into poverty.
兄弟们，能不能给房子指点一下？
Bros, can anyone give me some advice or point me in the right direction? I'm really lost right now. I've been lying flat in my hometown for about 3 months. Every day feels like I'm just a walking corpse. Honestly, bros, please recommend something, anything that could help me save some money. Right now, I'm open to anything. This is our local night market. I want to set up a stall here, but I don't know what to sell, and I don't know anything. I have less than 2,000 yuan in total. My daily expenses are 20 yuan. I don't eat breakfast. I just have a 10 yuan fast food lunch, and I don't eat dinner. Every day, I just do a bit of delivery for Meituan, making about 30 yuan a day. After rent and utilities, I don't think I'll make it through the year. This lady selling breakfast in the town wakes up at 4 a.m. and works for over 7 hours, but still earns less than 30 yuan, about $4 US.
Let me tell you, I woke up at 4:30 a.m. and worked until around 11 a.m., but I still couldn't make 30 yuan. Today's a failure again. Barbecued.
This is a video shared by a migrant worker from Qingdao City, detailing the harsh reality of farmers' life, which was also suppressed by the CCP.
I don't know if this video will be blocked again, but I still want to say some things. It's November now. I'm in Qingdao City, Shandong Province. This is the harvest season for our family's crops. A few years ago, my mum and I worked the whole morning to sell a tricycle full of spring onions, but we sold it for less than 40 yuan, 0.12 yuan per pound. A tricycle is over 300 pounds, but we only got less than 40 yuan. I haven't even calculated the labor costs, fertilizer and seeds. These 40 yuan in the city would only buy 2 cups of milk tea, but in my hometown in the countryside, this is the harvest after a whole morning's hard work. Talking about those young people who go out to work, if they could earn enough to support their families by staying at home, who wouldn't want to stay with their wife and children and enjoy a comfortable life? Farming as a family is easy, but if you want to support the family through farming, it's really hard. That's why most of the people working on the fields are over 60 years old.
Wu Xiaoping, the head of the China Human Rights Lawyers Alliance, believes that the phenomenon of migrant workers in China itself is the result of the CCP's systemic plunder of rural areas and farmers. Namely, people from rural areas go to cities to find job opportunities and increase their income due to the urban-rural disparity. Now the economy is facing problems. Consumption is down, investment is sluggish, and exports are suffering, leading to a large number of factory closures and bankruptcies. This has caused massive unemployment, with many migrant workers being among the hardest hit. Unable to find work in the cities, they are forced to return to their hometowns, contributing to the current large-scale return migration. In the face of this surging tide of returnees, the CCP has not opted for relief, crisis management, or any substantial aid measures. Instead, it has quickly launched a nationwide block migration campaign. These measures may seem absurd, but they expose the deepest fears of the regime. It is not the virus or security issues that they fear, but the people themselves. What the CCP truly fears is the scenario where millions of unemployed people return to their villages, sitting together on the same earth-heated beds, exchanging the same heartbreaking experiences. At that moment, they will suddenly realize that the reason they've been pushed to the brink is not that they didn't try hard enough, but that the entire system has completely failed. This is the true mass awakening. The CCP knows better than anyone that when the despair of the countryside converges into a flood, the consequences will be something it cannot bear. A netizen pointed out, if a regime simultaneously does the following 3 things, 1 prevents you from surviving in the city, 2 prevents you from returning home to help yourself, and 3 offers you no way out, yet demands that you maintain stability, then it's no longer governing the country, but is deliberately creating despair. Therefore, the real crisis is not the return migration itself, but the CCP's fear of the people returning home. When a regime fears its own people, it is not far from collapse.